There's something extraordinary about the INFJ's light. It's not loud, it's not glittering, and it's not the kind that demands to be seen. It's a silent kind of radiance, the type that hums beneath the surface like a secret sunrise waiting for someone patient enough to notice. Most people never do. They walk past it, too busy chasing their own reflections, too distracted to see the quiet miracle standing right beside them. But when an INFJ lights up, when that deep, inner fire catches a glimmer of meaning, beauty, or truth, it's like the entire world softens for a moment. Something changes in the air. There's a purity to it. A warmth. A reminder that even in a chaotic world, sincerity and depth still exist. This video is about the simple things, the small moments, that light them up from the inside out. The things that reawaken their hope, refill their energy, and make them whisper to themselves, yes, this is why I'm here. 1. When someone finally sees them. There's a moment every INFJ secretly dreams about, though they'd never admit it out loud, the moment when someone truly sees them. Not just their appearance, not just their kindness, but the deeper layers they usually keep hidden beneath smiles and soft words. INFJs spend so much of their lives being the listener, the healer, the safe place for others to unravel. They become so used to being invisible that when someone finally turns the mirror toward them, and looks into them instead of at them, something inside them quietly bursts into color. It's not grand gestures that move them. It's the subtle awareness. The moment someone remembers the small details, the way they pause before speaking, the tone of voice they use when they're tired but still trying to care. INFJs light up when someone notices the effort behind their empathy. Because deep down, they carry a silent ache, to be understood without having to explain themselves. They crave that connection where words are unnecessary, where energy, presence, and sincerity do the talking. When they find that, their guarded heart exhales. That one act of being seen can reignite an INFJ's faith in humanity. It reminds them that they're not invisible, that their depth isn't a burden, and that somewhere out there, there are souls who can read between the lines, just like they do. 2. Quiet spaces that breathe with meaning. For an INFJ, silence isn't empty, it's sacred. It's in the quiet moments that they recharge, rebuild, and remember who they are beneath all the noise of the world. There's something deeply magical about those simple, still spaces. The morning light spilling across their favorite corner, the soft hum of music that carries no words, the gentle rhythm of rain tapping on the window while they drift in thought. In those moments, the INFJ isn't alone, they're connected. To themselves. To the universe. To something higher. Their intuition thrives in quietude, whispering truths that the external world drowns out. Most people chase stimulation, but INFJs crave stillness because it's in the silence that their soul finally has room to speak. It's where their inner world, rich with ideas and emotion, stretches its wings. When life gets too loud, they retreat, not out of avoidance, but out of reverence. Because the INFJ knows that peace isn't found in the absence of people, but in the presence of authenticity. Give them a quiet room, a warm drink, and a notebook to pour their thoughts into, and you'll witness something sacred. You'll see a light return to their eyes that only introspection can awaken. 3. Deep, soulful conversations that go beyond the surface. INFJs aren't designed for small talk, not because they're shy, but because it starves them. They crave meaning the way others crave air. When a conversation takes that sudden turn, when it shifts from the weather and the day's tasks to questions like, "What do you believe in?" or "What do you think happens after we die?" the INFJ lights up in a way that's unmistakable. their whole energy changes. Their eyes soften but brighten. Their voice deepens with emotion. Because now they're not just exchanging words, they're connecting souls. They come alive when someone matches their curiosity, their introspection, their hunger for truth. They don't want to impress, they want to understand. They don't want to argue, they want to explore. And when the conversation flows effortlessly, when two hearts meet on the wavelength of sincerity, the INFJ feels something rare: belonging. It's not about agreement, it's about resonance. INFJs light up when they sense emotional intelligence in others, when someone feels deeply, thinks critically, and speaks from a place of honesty rather than ego. Because to them, conversation isn't entertainment, it's intimacy. One good, real conversation can heal weeks of disconnection for an INFJ. It's not an exchange, it's an awakening. 4. Seeing genuine kindness in a world that's forgotten it. INFJs are hypersensitive to energy. They can feel cruelty even when it's hidden beneath a smile, and they can detect sincerity even in silence. So when they witness genuine kindness, it touches them in ways words can't describe. It could be something as simple as seeing someone hold the door for a stranger, or as profound as watching a person comfort someone in pain without wanting anything in return. These moments pierce through the INFJ's quiet cynicism and remind them that not all light has been lost. Because INFJs often carry the sadness of the world in their hearts. They notice the suffering others ignore. They see the emotional wounds that people disguise as confidence. They feel the exhaustion that no one talks about. So when they see kindness, real, raw, uncalculated kindness, it restores their hope in humanity. It feels like a whisper from the universe saying, "You're not crazy for caring." It reignites their own inner flame. It reminds them why they continue to be gentle even when the world mocks gentleness. For the INFJ, kindness isn't weakness. It's strength disguised in compassion. And every time they witness it, they feel less alone in their mission to love deeply in a shallow world. 5. Authenticity that breaks through the mask. INFJs are drawn to realness the way moths are drawn to light. They can't stand pretension, fakery, or exaggerated personas, not because they're judgmental, but because it feels energetically heavy to them. They spend their lives reading the subtle energy behind people's words, so when someone finally shows up as authentically themselves, it's refreshing beyond words. When someone admits, "I'm struggling," or "I don't have it all figured out," the INFJ's heart lights up. Not because they want to fix the person, but because they value honesty over performance. In a world where everyone's curating their image, authenticity feels like rebellion. And INFJs love that quiet rebellion, the kind that's not loud but true. They light up when someone speaks with conviction, when their energy is aligned with their words, when their actions reflect their values. Because INFJs don't fall in love with masks, they fall in love with souls. Authenticity gives them permission to relax, to drop their own layers of guardedness, and to meet the world as they are, unfiltered, imperfect, real. And when they find people who do that naturally, they feel an unspoken kinship. Because authenticity, to an INFJ, is more than beauty, it's freedom. 6. When their effort actually matters. INFJs give a lot, not because they're trying to earn love, but because giving feels like breathing. They pour themselves into others, into their work, into causes they believe in. But deep down, they carry an unspoken hope that their effort means something. When their care, their creativity, or their insight genuinely makes a difference, when someone says, "What you said really helped me," or "That changed the way I see things," something within them glows quietly. It's not pride. It's fulfillment. It's validation that their sensitivity isn't wasted. That their intuition, their empathy, their sleepless nights trying to understand others, all of it had a purpose. INFJs light up when they feel useful in a meaningful way. When their presence leaves an emotional fingerprint on the world. Because at their core, they're not chasing recognition, they're chasing impact. They want to know their existence somehow lessened the pain in the world, even if only by an inch. That's what drives their quiet resilience. That's what fuels their inner fire when they feel invisible. The knowing that somewhere, somehow, their love made a difference, even if no one sees it happen. 7. The moment they feel spiritually aligned. The INFJ's light burns brightest when they feel spiritually connected, not necessarily in a religious sense, but in a soul-deep sense of alignment with something greater than themselves. It could be the feeling they get while standing under the stars, realizing how small yet purposeful they are. Or when they're writing in their journal and suddenly sense that the universe is listening. Or when they comfort someone and feel an energy move through them that's not entirely their own. These are the moments when everything makes sense for the INFJ, when their empathy, their intuition, and their longing for depth all converge into one transcendent state of peace. They light up when they sense divine timing, when coincidences line up too perfectly to be random, when they feel guided by an unseen force. It's not about control, it's about surrender. It's about remembering that their pain, their intuition, their depth, all of it was preparing them to be a vessel for light in a dim world. And in that awareness, they smile. Quietly. Because in that moment, they're home, not in a physical place, but within their purpose. INFJs are often misunderstood because their light isn't loud. It doesn't seek attention, it seeks truth. It's not the fire that burns cities, it's the candle that stays lit through every storm. These 7 simple things, being seen, silence, meaningful connection, kindness, authenticity, purpose, and spiritual alignment, are not luxuries for the INFJ, they're necessities. They are the sacred sparks that keep their empathy alive in a world that often feels numb. And if you're an INFJ watching this, remember, your light is not meant to blind, it's meant to guide. You illuminate paths quietly, often without knowing the difference you've made. But trust this, the world is a little less cold because you exist in it. So keep seeking what lights you up. Keep protecting your peace. Keep being the rare soul who still believes that love, truth, and meaning matter. Because you, INFJ, are proof that light doesn't need to be loud to change everything it touches.